All right, there we go. Welcome, everyone. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen and then make sure you can see my slides. Okay, let's make sure we're good. Okay, good deal. Should have everyone being able to see my screen. Now, Andy, with my dual monitor, I can't see anyone. So if you will just jump in or put in the chat anything in particular, if you guys want to jump in at any point, feel free to put in the chat. I'll have that pulled up so I can see that. Just will not be able to see your faces. So. And then Andy, if I miss anything, feel free to just hop off and mute and catch me, okay?
Sounds good. Will do.
All right, perfect. So again, welcome everyone. Linda and I are glad you're here. Linda and I do this every month. We've committed to it every month in 2024, and this is our last month to do it. Likely going to do it again next year as well, just as a free resource for anyone in KW who wants to learn what is profit share and how do you get serious about actually taking advantage of it. So we're going to talk about everything from the basics all the way up to more advanced strategies with how do you actually take it and put it into practice and go and build your wealth at KW if you so choose. Now, one thing you are going to notice on today, there is today you don't have McKissacks plural, you have McKissacks singular. And the reason for that is because good news and bad news. The bad news is Linda is not with us today. In fact, I wanted to show everyone just so if you wanted to know where Linda is, here's a picture of Linda in her car today. She is actually in Indianapolis. Now, here's the positive side. Linda is practicing what we preach. So she is actively working on a few recruits right now and also working on a launch in the Indianapolis area for Keller Williams. So she is at least spending her time and putting it to good use, practicing what we preach. And then the other good news is you have her favorite son on today, which is obviously me. And I have worked closely with Linda. In addition to that, for the last few years, I've worked with the top profit share earners in KW. Nick being my good friend, who's actually in my downline, being one of those people. And in the last 6 years, Nick has added over, it's got to be, I don't know. Andy, I need to look at the most recent report, but in his first 4 years of building his profit share, he crossed over 500 people in his first level. So the good news is you're in good hands today. We're going to cover, again, everything from the basics all the way to advanced stuff. And so we will miss Linda, but we will maximize the time without her today. As we get started, the first thing I want to make sure you have is the resources you need for today's class. Now, you don't need to print anything. However, if you want it, we're going to give it to you so that you can have some resources to reference after the call and just some fun giveaways just because Linda and I can and want to. So the first thing is the workbook for today's class. If you scan that QR code that's on the screen, you're going to get a couple things. The first is the workbook for today's class. The second is the profit share playbook that was written by Aaron Kaufman and Jason Abrams. The third thing that Linda and I do is we send out a podcast every month called Profit Share Mastery. So if you want to do something kind for Linda and I, and you want to build and get serious about building your profit share, go follow us and subscribe to get those every month. If you scan the QR code, we do send out our episodes monthly, so you'll get a copy of that. But basically, we take people either Linda and I share, or we go and get people who are actively building their profit share in unique and different ways, and we interview them every month. And so we release that podcast once a month, I think around the 21st of the month. So you can get access to that. And then also, I'm actually in the process of writing a book on profit share and a unique method that I helped pioneer and perfect for growing your downline very fast and doing it in a way where instead of you having to cold call people, people actually schedule calls with you. So it's sort of a unique, different way to build your profit share that's very effective. So with that being said, if that interests you at all and you want to be on the wait list for that book, you can scan that QR code and we'll send you all those things. And then the last thing to mention is that Lynn and I do have a profit share swag store. I think it's profitshareswag.com. But every month we give away some coupons to people who come to this class just as a thank you for coming. So I think we award, what, Andy, 5 of those or something like that for you to go get a shirt. Or I actually have some of my swag today. We have a mug This mug says fueled by profit share and coffee. So that's what I am fueled by today. All right. With that being said, let me kind of share with you who the McKissacks are if you've never met us before. Linda is my mother. She is a pioneer in Keller Williams. She was the #1 agent in KW back when it was about 2,000 agents, a very smaller regional company. And since that time, her first few years in KW, she wanted nothing to do with profit share. And then eventually she was in a mastermind with Gary Keller. She had the best and the worst spot in the room. And the reason why I say that is she was the very last seat in that room. And so what they did in that mastermind is Gary went around the room and challenged everyone in there to do a pro forma on a business that was not their real estate sales business, because Gary was trying to make the point about a couple things. Number one, how great of a business opportunity their team building their own business was, and what other businesses could you venture into, and then share with the room about what that business looks like, what was the net profit from that business, stuff like that. So Linda was the very last seat. So by the time it got to her, title was taken, mortgage was taken, insurance was taken, right? Property management was taken, all the normal things that you would think about. So Linda's like, what the heck am I going to do? And someone leaned over to her and said, hey, Linda, you've kind of been asking questions around profit share. Why don't you pick profit share as a business? So sure enough, anything, as Linda tells it, anything sounds better 2 months from when you need to present it, right? So she's like, oh, great idea. So she picks profit share. She ends up trading some time with someone who was up in Washington, and she flew up to Washington, and he had to explain what profit share was and help her understand how to build a pro forma for that business. And what's interesting is Linda's math said that if she got 20 people in her first level, and then those 20 people all went and got 20, that she could make $1 million a year from Keller Williams profit share. Fast forward from that point, Linda would eventually go on to become the #1 profit share earner in Keller Williams. Her and Jim, my father, collectively together have earned over $1 million a year in Keller Williams profit share. And their lifetime total is over 16 million in profit share. So it has been an incredible blessing to our family. And so that's why we are very passionate about teaching the gift of profit share, because this is a great business, as we're going to talk about. The real estate industry is a great industry to be in, but there are some missing things, and profit share kind of allows you to have multiple streams of income. All right, so that's really our story. And then I've been working with Linda for the last 6 years. And inside of KW for that time, I've helped some of the top profit share earners on profit share. And I've also worked with the #2 sponsoring associate in all time for him to be able to do what he's done, who's in my downline. So again, we're going to talk different strategies today and different ways to get serious about building your wealth at KW. So I'm going to kind of skip over the agenda. You don't really care all that much about that. You just want to get to the good stuff. So let's kind of jump in. This is what Lynn and I like to start every class with when we can. Who on here would like to work because they want to, not because they have to? So if that entices you, would you please put yes in the chat for me? Who would love to be able to say that I work because I want to, not because I have to? So if that's you, put yes in the chat. Okay, cool. I see yeses, absolutes. Pretty much you can guess when Lynn and I teach class and we ask this question in person, almost every hand goes up, right? Who wants to do that? And yet what's interesting is a lot of us say that's what we want in our life, but I'm not sure it's as easy to connect the dots from I want to do that to how do I actually do that, right? So when I say that, here's really what I mean. This industry is a great industry, but the day you sell your last house, and I promise, if there's nothing else you hear me say today, please take this one home. The day you sell your last house is the last dollar you'll ever make in real estate. We are in a great industry, but sales, the sales side of real estate is a pitch business. And what I mean by that is it's, if you want to make money today, you got to wake up and go to work, right? What we don't have is really the secret to being able to work because you want to, not because you have to. And this is that secret. It is multiple streams of income with recurring revenue. Okay. So if there's a note to take today, I would recommend this is it. This is bigger than just profit share. This is about your future and how you set out on a path for you to be able to make the kind of money you want to make so that you have freedom of options, right? That's what most of us want. And the way you do that is multiple streams of income. We tell a story. Linda in the late 90s did a mastermind with a business psychotherapist named Dr. Fred Gross. And in that mastermind, he was working with the top 1% of 1%ers in real estate from all different companies at the time. And one of the biggest ahas that Linda and Jim took out of that mastermind was when he said, in order for you to have financial freedom in your life, you probably are going to need to have 7 or more income streams. And that was in the late 90s. I'd argue today. I mean, obviously it depends. You know, if you own Amazon, that's probably one really good income stream, right? Most of us don't own Amazon. So we all probably need 10 or more streams of income, right? For us to be able to have that freedom. So my argument today is that profit share is a natural revenue stream that you should have, because let me ask you a question. Are you in business for a year or for a career? If you're in business for a career at KW, then you are walking over dollars to get to dimes every day. That every day you wake up and the only thing you focus on is building your sales business. You have this opportunity to build relationships with other agents. And I would argue those relationships with those agents are actually more important than the relationships with the clients you have. And if you do it right, you will nurture those relationships. And if you're willing to spend a little time focusing on building your passive income through profit share, you can walk away from real estate and not just hang up your hat and walk away with whatever money you made. You can hang up your hat and walk away with a financial income stream that is willable to generations. And so to me is very, very powerful. So if that interests you, that's really what we're going to focus on today around profit share. Now, the other thing I want to share real quick, when you think about revenue streams, I'm going to draw on my board. So give me just a quick second. But there are 2 things I want you to think about when it comes to what are other income streams that I'd like to have other than my sales business. There are 2 lenses I want you to think about. The first lens to think about when you're thinking about other income streams is profit. Okay. So profits. It may be hard to see my board, but don't worry as much about what you see as much as what you hear me say. So profit is the first one. Now the second one, and profit's what most of us think about. That means how much money can we make from that opportunity, right? Here's the good news. You know that Linda McKissick makes $1 million a year, and I know people who make multiple 6 figures a year. So you know that there is some level of profit opportunity from profit share, right? So if you think about that from a level of 0 to 10, profit share opportunity is not a 0, okay? It has the potential to be north, right, in this quadrant, which is a good quadrant to be in. Now, the next thing I want you to think about is the one most people don't think about, and that is noise level, okay? So noise. What I mean by that is, let me give you a really good example. Being a drug dealer is a great example. Y'all are going to love this. Being a drug dealer has the opportunity to be a level 10 profit and if you get caught and go to jail, a level 10 noise. Yes? Does that make sense? Noise level is how much risk, how much friction in your life there could be from that thing, right? So a drug dealer would probably be a level 10 profit and a level 10 noise. Now, profit share, here's what's interesting about profit share. It has the potential to be a level 10 profit, and it is about a level 1. It's the lowest level I know of any income streams that I own or Linda owns, or I know of some of the top wealthiest people in KW that I'm connected with. It's a 1 to a 0 to a 1 on the noise level. And here's what I mean by that. Our model is so beautifully set up. When you sponsor someone into the company, you never have to do another thing with that person again. Now you can if you want to, but there's no expectation of mentorship. There's no phone calls. Even a rental property is not entirely passive. The noise level is higher, right? Because a toilet breaks, you get a phone call, right? Even the property management, if you have them, they're going to call you for stuff. So there is some level of noise level, but with profit share, it truly is as close to a 0 as I've ever seen from an income stream. So second key takeaway today, when you're looking at other income streams, think about not just profit, but noise level. If you were to go start a restaurant from being in sales, you're your profit's probably going to be pretty low. Now, some of you, I don't know if you have businesses, but Jimmy, my dad has a history in restaurants that did not work out. And that was a low profit opportunity for him and a high noise level. So be very cognizant. That's why Linda and I very much adamantly preach that profit share is a great income stream because it's high profit opportunity for a low noise level. If you get that, put yes in the chat. Okay. I just want to make sure you guys are tracking. Put yes in the chat if that makes sense. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, we did a study in our region, and what was really interesting is the people who make the most from profit share tied it to something emotionally important to them. So as you get started on this journey, if you have zero in profit share right now, you need to already go ahead and associate what is your profit share going to be earmarked for. The people who make the least in profit share are the ones who have no plan for it. It just goes into their bank account and then it just disappears. So I want you to think about what's the thing that you're going to earmark profit share for. I can tell you for me, and Linda, Anna and I in the past have brought in about 20,000 a year in profit share from just getting started on this journey. And from us for that money, actually, I think it was a little more than that. It was probably about 24 because our kids, Primrose, and I don't know if you're familiar with Primrose, but it's like a daycare. It's a very nice daycare school. For my two girls was about $24,000 a year. And so that money for us was earmarked to go to pay for their school. So just be thinking of what is the money? What it could be a car payment. It could be a trip with your spouse. It could be a lot of things, but pick something because that is what will help kind of drive you forward as you think about wanting to build your profit share. The other thing is we call these life's unexpecteds. The other benefit of building your profit share is you're going to get a benefit that you didn't realize on the front end. This is my sister and and my brother-in-law who passed away about 16 years ago from cancer. And that's their daughter, Ellie. He got diagnosed with cancer at the age of 29, and he had 10 months to live. And in that time, Linda and Jim stopped all of their business activities, moved down to about 6 hours away from them, and basically lived with my sister and Andrew for about 10 months until he passed away. And in that time, because of what we've learned at KW, their businesses grew, but also they had passive income from profit share that just continued to come in every month. And so their income did not go down in that time. It actually went up. And that is just one of those things that's a gift that you don't realize that's important until you need it. And a lot of us are going to be the people who are having to take care of not just our kids, but also our parents. So I don't know if any of you are having that, but not just childcare expenses, but also parent care expenses are going up and are pretty significant. The other thing that you need to do when you get started with profit share is you got to make an identity shift. And what I mean by that is you got to shift from agent thinking to stakeholder thinking. And so here's the best way I can explain that. At a traditional real estate company, think of it like this. You have the agent on one side of a fence and you have the brokerage on the other, and you're both fighting over a dollar. The agent wants more dollars in their pockets. The brokerage wants more dollars in their pockets. What makes KW different is that Gary built a model where we're all on the same side fighting for the same thing. Because guess what? We're a profit share company. And so a large percentage of our market center's profits, of our office's profits, go back to a pool of money to get shared with the agents who help us grow, right? Who sponsor people into the company. And so if you think about it, now we're both on the same side of the fence and we all want everyone to win. I want you to do good. You want me to do good, because when we all do good, there's more profit, which means there's more profit share. And therefore we all win. And so you shift from being an agent mindset, which is what can I take from being here, to what can I contribute? What can I give? If you've been at KW for any length of time, you understand that our culture is unique and different. This is why, because our model is inherently set up to be a giver model. We are a group of people who want everyone to succeed and win. And that is not normal at other companies, not just real estate, but outside of our industry. Okay. I love this quote from Gary. He said, "We created a program that would treat our associates like legitimate partners. in the business. Our associates can build a business inside a real estate company that is as powerful as if they own the company themselves. So the way I want you to think about it is what you're building when you go set out to build your profit share is you are building a virtual market center. And what's amazing about that is you can sponsor people all over the country. They don't have to just be in your backyard, in your own office. They could be in the office next to you. They could be in the office in the state next to you. They could be across the country. Doesn't matter. As long as they're in the KW system, you can benefit from sponsoring them in. So think about it like building your own company inside of KW and without all the risk and the liability and things that come with owning a legitimate Keller Williams franchise, right? So let's cover 101. So how does profit share work? Number one, an associate joins any market center and names you. Okay. Number two, they pay company dollar. That means they've contributed to the profits or to the revenue of the office. Okay. Number three, the market center is profitable because obviously you understand if there's no profit share, right? And so what you're going to find is the majority of Keller Williams offices are profitable. However, some are more profitable than others, right? Some of our Atlanta market centers, for those of you, I saw a few Atlanta people on here, you've got some wildly profitable market centers there, right? And then in other areas, you might have a less profitable market center. What most people do is they really don't worry about this part. This part tends to take care of itself. We have a inherent self-correcting model between Keller Williams International, the regions. They are set up for us to continually level up our offices and our leadership so that even if right now there's an office that has lower profit, that is likely going to be a turnaround opportunity that someone is going to turn around and turn it from a lower profit to a higher profit. So we tend to have a self-correcting model, which is really great about the way we're set up. So Linda has never worried about which office is more profitable or less profitable. She just sends people to the right office that makes the most sense for them based on where they live. Okay. Then number four, on the 21st of the following month, some of the market center's profit is automatically deposited into your account. It is very common. This is good to know. It is very common for people to think the first time they get a profit share check that the market center is actually taking money out of their account when in reality they are giving money into their account. So make sure you just kind of pay attention to that. We've had that multiple times where people have thought, why is the market center taking my money? And the market center is like, we're not. We're giving you your profit share money, which is a pretty cool thing to see. It's also important to know that you're not getting a portion of the associate's commission. You are sharing in the owner's profit. And this is really, really key. I hope you understand what this says about the franchise owners in our company. They have agreed when they decided to own a Keller Williams franchise to share. I don't know what the exact split is. I think it's like 45 up to 45% of their profits back to the profit share pool. Okay. What that to me says about our owners is that they are people who value sharing profits with people who help them grow. I don't know about you, but that's people I'm proud to be in business with. And so I love getting to talk to and work with and meet our franchise owners because of what they've set up with their model, that they're allowing me to share in the opportunity with them without all the risk. That is a beautiful model. Okay. So hopefully you take some appreciation for whatever office you're in, or if you ever meet a franchise owner, it's amazing. Like what our owners are special people. Okay. All right. Number five, vesting. This part is very important. So if you joined prior to April 1st of 2020, the vesting period at KW was 3 years and a day until you are vested. That means you could at that point leave Keller Williams, but you would continue to stay and receive your profit share. You'd stay at where you are in the profit share tree, and you would continue to receive profit share. That has been, they did a lot of research on this, and this was voted on by the IALC, which is how all profit share decisions are handled. Gary Keller turned it over to the IALC, which is pretty cool. And so it's the agent body mixed with some leaders who make those votes of what changes to be made. And so they did a lot of research, and they have actually increased the vesting period for anyone who joined after April 1st, 2020 to 7 years and a day. So you're here at Keller Williams for 7 years and a day, and then you leave, you keep your profit share, you maintain your spot, which is, again, pretty amazing to see. This number 6 point is that you can will your profit share to a beneficiary. I'm going to show you in a minute where to do that, but this is also really key. you can will your profit share to a beneficiary that you name, which means this is legacy money. This is generational money. Okay. Number 7, you have access to all your profit share reports on mykw.kw.com. You can also see your profit share on your Command app. Okay. So make sure you're paying attention to that as well. Now, what I want to show you real quick is inside of Command in the upper right-hand corner where you have your name. If you drop that little caret down and you select, I believe it is my profile or something like that. There's like 2 or 3 options to pick from. It's one of those 2 or 3. You'll land on this page. I think it's called MyKW. You'll land on this page, and on the left-hand side, you will see beneficiary. Okay. You see I have it here marked. You want to select that and go in and name your beneficiary, because if something happens, God forbid something happens to you, that's named and it's there. And so that will ensure that it goes to the proper place and the proper person. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps you there. We've already talked about this, but it is as low a decimal on the noise level from a passive income standpoint. There's no financial risk. There's no down payment risk. There's no legal risk. There's no phone calls, right? Low noise. Let's talk about how you actually grow your profit share tree. Now, here's what I want you to make sure you take away. Every year, on average, at least for the last 5 or so, between 50,000 and 60,000 people join our company every single year. What is the one common denominator that all those people have to do when they sign up? They have to name a sponsor, every single one of them. So here's how I want you to think about your opportunity. You have 50 to 60,000 opportunities a year to build your profit share. How much of those people do you want to be in front of to name you a sponsor? Okay. That's the opportunity size currently inside of KW. So it's a very big list of people, right? Now, what happens is you have a sponsor. So in my case, Linda McKissack, my mother, is my sponsor. She sponsored me into the company. One day I joined, I signed up and said, Linda's the reason I'm here, mainly because she birthed me, but also because she clearly introduced me to the company, right? Now, your sponsor has a sponsor. So in Linda's case, Jim is actually Linda's sponsor. So Jim is above Linda. So it would go in our tree, it would go Jimmy, Linda, and then me. So Linda named Jim as her sponsor, and I named Linda as mine. Okay. Now, the same thing works in the other direction. And this is more important for you to know, because to be honest with you, who sponsored you to the company is not that relevant. What is relevant is who you sponsor to the company. And so the way I want you to think about it is you have a sponsor, and now you have the opportunity to go sponsor other people to the company. That means all you're doing is introducing them to Keller Williams. And when they join, they have to name a sponsor. And if you're the reason that they're in the chair and they're talking to the office, there's a good chance that you're the person who's responsible for them joining, and therefore this get named a sponsor. And so you can have what's called your first level. Those are the people who directly name you as sponsor. And that can then go to your second level. What that means is those people go out and introduce people, right, to the company. So now those people would be on your second level, and it goes all the way to level 7. There are 7 levels. Now, most important thing you need to take away is the answer to this question right here, okay, which is which level should you focus on growing? You have levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Put in the chat, which level is the most important, do you think, to grow? I want to see some answers in the chat. Which level is most important for you to focus on? Levels 1 through 7. What do you think? Yeah, Stephanie. Yes, Archie. Yep, y'all got it right. Level 1, right? The one you have the most control over. So that's what we always tell people. And this is a great quote from Aaron Kaufman in KW. He says, if you will build it wide, meaning your first level, time will help you build it deep. Okay. And I love what Mo says. I think everyone should take this to heart. The day you join Keller Williams, you should focus on getting 15 people in your first level as soon as possible. That is the best way for you to start getting the ball rolling of letting time do some heavy lifting for your profit share. Here's my point to this. Remember Linda's pro forma? You know what's interesting is Linda's lifetime between her and Jim, they have sponsored 33 people into the company in their first level. 33. Now they have 9,000 or 8,000 or something crazy in their total tree between levels 1 through 7. But in level 1, it's 33 people. Okay. Time, first off, they got the right 33 people, right? Secondly, time did the heavy lifting of taking it and building it wide, right? Some of those people went on to own offices. Some of like, you never know. Think of it like this. Every person you sponsor is like a lottery ticket. You never know how they're going to pay out. Okay. Some are going to pay out a lot. Some are going to pay out none, some a little bit. So getting to 15 people should really be the first focus that you have. Okay. Going wide as fast as you can. Now, let's actually start talking about strategy. How do you actually practically do that? There are really two paths. Again, I've told you at the beginning, Linda and I work with the top profit share earners. There are two paths if you want to get serious about profit share. Path number one is the way Linda did it. We call that the influential agent model. I'm going to share with you the formula very briefly in a minute. But the thing I want you to take away is this is an influence model, meaning that you build your business, you build your reputation so that you are valid and credible to other agents that you then are purposefully building relationships with, likely in your own market, but it could be online in Facebook groups or at national conferences and things like that. There are a lot of ways to meet agents, right? But you leverage your influence and relationships to introduce people to the company. Now, Linda's the best example I've ever seen at that. And I'll show you the formula in a minute for how she kind of does that model, okay? What I would tell you, though, is for a large majority of Keller Williams people, this is a slower process, and it is not something that everyone has the same opportunity in. Meaning, Linda McKissack is a rare bird in the fact that she has she was one of the first people to 7th level. She's in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. I mean, I could go over a list of things that you would be like, yeah, she's got high influence. She got high valid. Now, she didn't always, but she definitely was very purposeful about building her business and being sort of in the top tier of real estate agents while also building great relationships. And that's really the key, I think, for that one is you gotta be very purposeful with that one. Now with path number 2, this is a model anyone can do. And so this is the model I shared earlier about what Nick, who's in my downline, did. It's a unique way where we actually leverage a recruiting website, and we are posting on job boards, and we are actually generating leads. Those people are then scheduling calls with Nick. So let me be clear. He's not scheduling calls with them. They're opting into his website. They're scheduling calls with him. He does about a 20-minute phone call, and then he refers them to a Keller Williams office across the country. And he does that from the comfort of his home. And he has done that for the last 5 or 6 years in KW. And he has built an amazing profit share. In 4 years, he followed that model and built his profit share to over 50,000 in annual profit share. Okay. So it is a unique model. That is a model that if you can follow a process, anyone can do. And so what Nick basically did is we found a way for him to insert himself into people who are already thinking about getting into real estate and be that middleman to bridge the gap between where they were, which was getting into real estate and looking for a brokerage, to introduction to the brokerage and joining the company, naming him a sponsor. So that is, we're not going to go into that strategy today. I don't have time, but if you do want to know more about it, we took what Nick did, and my partner Josh helped Linda and I build that into a tech system that anyone in KW can use for a monthly fee. And so it's a tech platform similar to how your CRM works, but it's all set up really for you. So there's nothing you have to do other than get it connected, and then you start running the play, and we teach you the play to do. So if that interests you, you can go to profitsharesites.com. And that is a good one for those who are more systems based and really would rather be able to just talk to people who are calling them instead of them doing more of the relationship building and outreach. All right, let's talk about the influential agent model that Linda followed. This is the formula that we teach, and it is relationships plus validity plus value gaps over time. Okay, and what we mean by that is you pick in your market a list of 5 to 10 people that you would enjoy building a relationship with, And then you work on getting clear on what validity you have in order to be in relationship with those people, right? Validity is what opens the door to a relationship. And then you start to build a relationship with them. So this would be like you're doing a transaction with someone, and instead of you just talking about, the deal, you actually talk about them and their life and their business. And what you would find in that conversation, what you're looking for is what Linda and I call your value gaps. By the way, we all have them. Everyone has value gaps in their life. They're the things that you're missing in order for you to go to the next level, wherever you're trying to go, right? So it might be you're talking to an agent and you find out in their business that they are staying up till 11 or 12 o'clock at night. They have, they're just super busy, and their value gap might be they need leverage, right? They might need an assistant. They might need transaction management, some sort of leverage in their life that they don't have. You then take that piece of information, and this is the biggest secret I can share with you. You don't solve it on the phone. What most people do is as soon as they get so excited when they hear a value gap, once they kind of hear how Linda and I teach this, you get so excited about it that you try to solve it in that moment. That's the worst thing you can do. You take that information back with you, and you're going to use it as the reason to follow back up with him, probably in about a week or a couple days, right? So you use value gaps as the tool to move the relationship forward. And so that's how you're able to leverage this formula. And then the time part is you do this over time. And this is the hardest part about this formula. With the newer agent model, the pathway, it's a little faster of a timeline because these people have a higher need. Most of them are getting into real estate, or they're a licensed agent moving from one location to another. With this model, it's like Linda's longest recruit took 13 years to get. So now that's not everyone, but you don't get to pick their time frame. They pick their time frame, right? And so you have to be okay and detached from the outcome with this strategy. Okay. Time will solve itself, but you keep moving the relationship forward. So step number one, that regardless of what strategy you pick, you should all in your local market start thinking about who are 5 people that I would enjoy building a relationship with. And I want you to actually write those down. What I would do if I were you is I'd have a whiteboard in my office in front of me, and I would write their names on that whiteboard so that every day that I'm sitting at my desk and I look up to my whiteboard, I see their names. And it's going to put that mental note in your head to follow up with those people, okay? To be building that relationship further. What have I done for these people lately? What could I give to these people to further the relationship?
Now,
Okay,
are
that's step
these
number.
business people or friends, family? Who are these 5?
Yeah, that's a great question. So traditionally, when you're thinking about your 5, most of the time I would tell you to think about agents who are already in the business. Now, if you have some friends or family that are interested in real estate but aren't ready yet, you could put them on your list for sure. But if I were you, remember, in order to get profit share, I need to get someone into Keller Williams who then produces and creates profit for the office. So the easiest lift for you is gonna, or the fastest path to profit share is actually someone who's already licensed in the business, just not with KW. So that would be my first thought. Now, with that being said, again, if you've got some relationships with people who are not yet in real estate, but you have an idea that they are going to want to, for sure, they could be on your list and nurture that relationship until they're ready to get in. Yeah, so that was a great question. Now, I'm going to share with you some of the places to find these relationships. And so this will kind of speak to that. Because some of you are going to be like, well, I don't know. Who should I put on my, I don't even know anyone in real estate. Well, we need to go meet some people then, right? This is a relationship business, whether it's the sales side or whether it's the profit share side. This is a contact sport, as Gary Keller says. So we got to make sure that we are meeting people and getting out there where they are. So the best way is who are agents you're already doing deals with or have already done deals with that you didn't do a very good job of building that relationship, or you could come back to and nurture that relationship more. That's the best first place to look. The second is, do you have any relationships who are already at another brokerage? Okay. Number 3 could be friends from the industry, meaning people either in a different market, or it could be people who are not in real estate sales, like mortgage, title, insurance, that might be interested in transitioning into real estate sales. right? Number 4 is past clients. At one point, Linda and Jim looked up, and 8 of their top 10 agents were their past clients in their Keller Williams office in Denton, Texas. Okay. So as much as we probably all, our first thought think, ooh, I don't want to lose them as a client. More than likely, you'll make more money from them longer as in your downline than you would from them as your past client forever. So, and if they're going to get in eventually, they're going to get in. The difference is they're going to get in maybe with a different company or maybe under somebody else's downline. So if you've got the relationship, past clients is a good place to have some of those conversations. Excuse me. Number 5, friends and family. Number 6, job boards. We talked about this, places like Indeed, LinkedIn. The thing I would tell you with this is the reason why Lynn and I built a system to do this is because this can be incredibly time consuming unless you have it automated. And when it's automated, it can actually be way less consuming than it would be by yourself. But there are a lot of people who've tried on their own, and that is a really hard way to do it. That's why we kind of built the system to help them do it. Number 7 would be Facebook groups or mastermind groups, right? Could be online or could be in the local market. Number 8, exceptional service people. One of the easiest lifts for anyone on this call to do if you want to build your downline better is when you go out to eat or when you go to a car dealership or you go to anywhere where they are providing customer service and you have a good experience, I'm going to teach you what to say. What I do say to those people is I say, hey, I just want to say thank you. You did a really great job for us tonight. Can I ask you a question? And you may have never thought about this before. Have you ever thought about a career in real estate? 'Cause I think you'd be great in it. That one line, that script, whatever you want to call it, conversation, has worked more times than I can count. And I've watched people do it, and it is without a doubt, one of the best ways to start a conversation, turn it towards real estate. And do you know what I hear most of the time? You know what? I have thought about real estate. Or they might say no, and you might have it, but I've thought about, I am looking to buy a home, right? So you never know where that's going to turn, but it is a great way to lead into a real estate conversation that could go in multiple different ways. Highly recommend you start doing that. Keep that top of mind. Number 9, national training events we talked about, and then number 10, local board events. So this is a great list. I'd keep this in front of you, leverage this list. It's a great way to just brainstorm ideas of where to meet them. Now let's kind of talk about setting a meeting with someone. So let's say you're doing a deal with someone and you want to turn the conversation towards more than just the transaction. You want to actually start building a relationship. Linda and I have 2 strategies we teach. The first one is to open with a compliment. 2 rules with that. It must be sincere. It must be real and truthful. And then the second way is to open up with asking for someone's input or expertise, because no one ever minds giving their opinion, right? So it might sound something like this from a compliment standpoint. It would sound something like, hi, Pres, this is Linda. I just wanted to take a minute and thank you for insert the compliment on the sale of 123 Main Street. You and I just closed. And then lead into, how's your business going? Like, how's business going this year? Right? Lead from that point, lead into a conversation to go deeper than just the transaction, right? The other way, again, I talked about was the input or expertise, because no one ever minds giving you their opinion. And it might sound something like this. Hi, Pres, this is Linda. I just wanted to take a minute and get your opinion or expertise on something, and then insert a question. Okay. That will I tend to lean this direction when I'm starting a new conversation, and when I'm in a relationship already with someone who, like, let's say you're in a transaction with someone, a compliment's a really good place to start, right? Especially towards the end of the transaction. So a couple different strategies there, just to kind of break the ice and get you into a conversation. The biggest reminder for you to remember is that your job is not to recruit people. Your job is to build genuine relationship. If you are on today's call and you think you hear me saying that you should set out to recruit people, please hear me. That's not what I'm saying. And it is not the most effective way. This is why you detach from the outcome. You have to be a relational person who truly cares about just building relationships with people and helping them with whatever decision is best for them. Okay. What happens, though, a lot of times is that tends to be them building their business at our company, because our company has this amazing way to help people build incredible businesses. So I highly recommend you just keep that top of mind. It's not recruiting. It is relationship building. I'm going to share with you a couple more strategies, and then I'm going to open it up for any questions you guys have today so that I just want to make sure you walk away today with any specific questions you want to know. You can feel free to, we'll spend a little time and you can ask, and feel free to ask me. This is probably one of the best frameworks that I can teach you to help you in going deeper with people and thinking through how you take someone from a new relationship to actually joining our company and naming you a sponsor. This is the framework I want you to think through. You and I are not good enough to make a buyer buy, a seller sell, or an agent join a company they don't want to join. Okay. That is a truth of life. We're not, I wish I was that good. As Linda always says, I've added a lot of people to KW, and I'd like to say I'm that good, but I'm truly, we're not all that good. However, what you can do is help people self-discover that KW is the right place to take their life and business to the next level. And when you do that, then you're going to add people to your downline. So how do you do that? How do you help people self-discover? The way you do that is the first and easiest way is level 1, which is questions. Okay. You have to ask people questions. That's why we don't just talk about the transaction. We ask them questions about their life, about their family, about their business, because that questions open the door to lead to a deeper relationship. And then we continue to use questions instead of telling people things. The best way is to ask really good questions. You know, you all know this. This is the same way you probably do with your clients. You don't tell them what to do. You ask questions to help them self-discover what the right path for them is. The second layer is stories. And this is where you have to do a little lift. You need to make an effort to learn some of the stories at Keller Williams. You should learn Linda McKissack's story. You should learn Mo Anderson's story about starting over at the age of 58, right? As the CEO of Keller Williams, right? From basically nothing. There are a lot of KW success stories in your market center, in your region, in the company that you need to learn. And I will tell you, here's the best place for you to go to learn them. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. If you are not listening to that podcast, you are missing out on some of the best content there is in our industry to help you learn ideas, strategies, and most importantly, the stories of the people who are here. And I promise you, those stories are more powerful than you telling someone what they need to do, right? So an example might be someone is fearful about, let me give you a really good example. When someone tells me, and this is an objection I hear a lot, and I've gotten to the point with them where they're starting to ask questions about moving to KW. One of the biggest objections you'll hear is, I'm afraid to move because I have this business over here, and I don't know, once my broker finds out, I don't know what's going to happen to those transactions. So instead of telling them, you know, here's the strategy of how you do it, or it'll be okay, or, you know, just suck it up and make a move, it'll never be the right time. What Linda and I do is we tell the story about Linda McKissack. When she decided to make the move to KW, she had 51 listings. And she was willing to walk away from, she was actually going to get her 51st. And she asked them to hold off because she said, hey, let me ask you a question. Are you doing business with me or with my company? And they're like, Linda, you're the hardest working agent. We do business with you. And she's like, well, then can you hold off on signing this for like 2 days while I switch companies because I need to make a business decision? And they said, absolutely, of course. And Linda was willing to walk away from 50. Now, here's the great news. 49 of them came with her, right? They went to the brokers. They said, we don't work with you. We work with Linda. They released their agreements and they all went with Linda. But Linda was willing to walk away from 50 because she knew it was never going to be a right time. And it was the right move for her to make. Now, when I tell that story, how much more powerful is that than me being like, hey, it'll never be the right time, right? You just got to bite the bullet and go. It's not the same. So learning stories is what's going to help you be able to have powerful moments with people in relationship with them. And again, you start by learning the Millionaire Real Estate Agent stories on that podcast. I think that's a great place to start. The last one is experiences. You don't sell people on joining Keller Williams. The hardest part about getting people here is because our company is an experiential company. You have to experience us. I can't go to family reunion and come back and explain to you what I just went through. You got to come with me and come experience it. So getting them to a class, a regional training, a national event like family reunion or mega camp is one of the best things you can do. Obviously, that depends on the level of producer, right? And the income that they have. But if you can get them to an event, a lot of times our offices, if they're a capper, our offices might be willing to pay for them to come. to help you build your downline. So be thinking about that. You might ask your brokerage your office questions about that, but getting them to experience is always the highest level. That's why things like Family Reunion and Mega Camp move people so much faster than, than anything else. All right. Last thing I want to share with you. I'm not going to go over these. In the slides, if you scan the QR code, and Andy, drop the link one more time, I want to make sure these are some of our favorite questions to ask that Linda and I use to go deeper with people. You'll get these if you scan the QR code, you'll get the slides so you can have all that. And then the last thing I want to share is this right here. Gary drew this in a mastermind one time and it stuck with me forever. He drew you and he drew 5 circles. And he said, if you want to have a really big life, you need to go out and find 5 key wealth determiners who wake up every day. And the way you know they're a wealth determiner is because when they wake up and go do activities, it builds your wealth. And he said, if you want to have a really big life, you tend to not need more than about 5 key wealth determiners. And so when I heard that, what really hit me is how much this relates to profit share. Your downline is an army of wealth determiners. The more you go get, the more wealth determiners you have. The more wealth determiners you have, the bigger life and income you're going to have. Okay. So the other thing though that's interesting is your team leader should be one of your key wealth determiners. And that's how I want you to think about your team leader in your office. Their job is to wake up every day and to help build the company. They have 2 options. They can either do that with and through agents, or they can do that around them. No team leader that I know that is in the company long enough wants to do it around an agent because it's harder, right? Them cold calling is a lot harder than you having a relationship and saying, hey, I've been working on so-and-so for the last 4 months, and I think they're ready to have a conversation with you about what it would look like to transition to KW. And then you pass the relationship over. So if you think about it that way, I want you to just think that Keller Williams pays to have a person on staff whose job is to build your wealth. That is your wealth determiner. How much you use that person is up to you. Your job is to go build relationships. Use them to help do the heavy lifting of getting them into the company when the relationship's at the right point. So with that being said, I've got a few more slides here, but when you get the slide deck, you'll be able to go through all of that. Andy dropped the link back in there so you can make sure if you click that and put in your email, you will get everything that we covered today. And with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And any questions you have, I want to make sure we get to today in the next 4 minutes. So feel free to either put it in the chat or you can raise your digital hand or come off of mute. Would love to connect. Also, if today was valuable, would you put yes in the chat? Did you get value from today? Did you learn something? Want to make sure you guys got value today. Okay, good. Good, I'm glad. Good. Oh, I love Anthony's a yes, yes. I love that. Awesome. Good. Good, good, good. Okay. Thank you. I'm understanding this much better now. Good. John, I'm so glad to hear that. This does not have to be complicated. Your job is to build relationships, pick what strategy you want to use, but at the end of the day, it's a relationship game. You got to build relationships. We got to nurture those relationships. And then when the time's right, and I'll tell you one more tip. This is a trick of the trade. Linda does not bring up Keller Williams to people. They bring up Keller Williams to her. And that sounds very counterintuitive, but what I'm telling you is when you bring it up, you're recruiting. When they bring it up, you're answering their question. And so Linda uses that strategy because no one has ever accused Linda of recruiting them because Linda doesn't recruit them. Linda builds a relationship with them. Linda seeks out to help them build a bigger life. She's done that at Keller Williams and it's built her life pretty darn big. And so that I want you to think about that. Like, you don't need to sell people on KW. You need to sell them on having a bigger life and the tools that KW has. And I promise the conversation will come. Okay. So, Archie, I see if someone leaves KW, comes back, do they go back into the original sponsor's downline? Archie, that's going to depend on how long they were here and how long they're gone. One thing I want to point out, hopefully you're all familiar with mykw.kw.com. Okay. If you've not been there, make sure you go there and log in. That is going to pop up your KW intranet. When you're in your intranet, in the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see a little box. there is the P&G manual. I want you to go download that P&G manual. You do not need to read the whole thing. It is very big, but I want you to, if has anyone ever done like control find, where you type in the word you're trying to look for, you do control find and you search profit share. I want you to read the section on profit share so you understand how changes are made through the IALC. That's a very powerful thing to know. You also can know parameters around the program. And you're also going to know time frames. So for example, if Andy joined today and names me a sponsor, and then Andy leaves, let's just say a month from now, he has a time period, I think it's 9 months, to come back, and he will come back in the same exact spot he left from. But if he leaves 9 months in a day, he will not. He will come back and have the opportunity to name a new sponsor. Now, if Andy's vested, it's a different situation because he's vested. He'll leave and he stays in the pool. If he comes back right where he was. So those are things that are all addressed in the P&G. And I would just encourage you to read that, and just so you know some of those timeframes. Awesome. Okay, is there any other burning question you guys have before we hop off? Okay, with that being said, here is my ask. And I said it at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. Please don't walk over dollars to get to dimes. This company is a gift. You have an opportunity to build your wealth while you build your income. I'm going to highly encourage that you all go back and keep Profit Share top of mind. We will be shooting out dates for next year's classes. Andy will get that next week. We'll plan those out. And we will, anyone who is on today's call, will make sure that you're on the list for next year. Feel free to come back onto these calls. We tweak them slightly each time, but it's majority of the same content. Use this as a refresher for you. Even if it just helps keep you top of mind and stay focused on it, we'd love to help you do that. So with that being said, thank you very much. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. God bless you, and go change lives.
Thank you.
Okay. Absolutely. See ya.
Thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.